Let's read the problem carefully. The cost per month of making n number of wooden toys is 3n plus 30. C stands for cost. The income from selling the toys, I for income, is 6n. And the question is, how many toys must the company make to get a profit where you would have the income greater than the cost? Okay, let's just go ahead and write our inequality. Do we know what the income is? We know the income is 6n. This is the income. So we're going to write 6n as our income. And so what do we want it to be? Greater than the cost. So we see the cost here is 3n plus 30. So we have our income here, and we have our cost here. And here's our equation. Income, cost. Income greater than cost. Now we can simply solve this. So we see here as we go through all the steps that the number of toys is 10. So you would, for how many toys must the company make to make a profit? So the number profit, this is the number of toys, so they need to make 10 toys. A computer chip factory machine temporarily malfunctioned and damaged 2,700 chips. Normally, 150 chips are damaged and 400 are produced in good condition each day. How many days will it take for the factory to recover from the malfunction? So our malfunction is we have 2,700 damaged chips. So we need to know, so whatever we have has to be greater than. So we want the chips to be, the good ones, to be greater than the 2,700. So we're talking about days, okay? So first of all, we have the 400 chips that are produced, and we have 450 chips that are damaged. So we want to know how many days is it going to take to recover. So the equation would be, we first to figure out how many days by subtracting the 400 minus the 150. That'll give us the good chips times the days, D for days. When we subtract that, that'll give us the good chips. So how long is it going to take to get the good chips or to get the factory to recover from the malfunction? So we got the damage in the goods. We're going to subtract them to see we got the good chips. So how many days is that going to take? So inequality is 400 minus 150 times D is greater than 200. So when you subtract this, you will get 250 times the number of days. So the chips times the days is greater than 2,700. In order to determine the days, you've got to divide by the 250 on both sides. That's the inverse operation. Now we can cancel out the 250 and the number of days is greater than or equal to 10.8 or 11 days rounded off. There's no point 0.8 days. So it's got to be greater than or equal to. So let's put the line underneath there. So the number of days would be 11 days. Al earns $5.95 per hour working after school. He needs at least $215. So he needs at least $215. So it's $215 or more. Okay. So this amount that he needs has got to be $215 or more. So the larger amount is to the left. Okay. For his holiday shopping. How many hours must he work to reach his goal? It says he works $5, he earns $5.95 an hour. So you can put that times H. So if you would write $5.95 an hour, this is our inequality. So we need to know exactly how many hours it would take to reach his goal if he worked $5, made $5.95 an hour, and he's got to make more than $250. So you see here in counter calculations, you divide both sides by $5.95. And once you divide it, you will get 36.13. Okay? And if you round it off, you're not going to go 0.13 hours, so you round it up. So he'd have to work at least 37 hours to reach his goal. An electronics store sells DVD players and cordless telephones. The store makes a $75 profit on each DVD player and a $30 profit on each cordless telephone. The store wants to make a profit of at least $255. So if it's at least, so if we have $255, so you want it to be at least that, so it's got to be more than the equation. So it's got to be at least that. So what the equation is, it's going to be greater than or equal to 255. So that's why this sign is greater than, because it has to be larger. So how are we going to come to get it? Are we going to add? So the reason that number 4 is the correct answer is because you have to add the profits of the DVD player and the telephone. So something plus something is going to give you an amount, and it has to be greater than $255. Number 5, Miss Smith wrote 8 less than 3 times a number. So 8 less than 3 times a number, the number can be x, is greater than 15 on the board. If x represents the number, which inequality is the correct translation of this statement? This is the inequality. A weaver spends $420 on supplies to make wall hangings and plans to sell the wall hangings for $80. Write an inequality that gives a possible number of wall hangings. So we know his supplies to make a profit, whatever he spends or whatever he earns has to be more than $420. So whatever's over here has got to be bigger than $420 because you want to make a profit. Okay? So how much are each of the wall hangings? They're $80 each. So I'm going to put 80H. The question is, write an inequality that gives a possible number of wall hangings. This is the inequality that gives the possible number of wall hangings. So this is the inequality. 80 times the number of wall hangings has to be greater than 420. Okay, so in order to solve that, we're going to divide both sides by 80 to get it by itself. So our hangings is greater than, so it has to make a profit. It doesn't have to be 420. That's the reason why it's just greater than. And it says 5. The answer for this would have been 5.25 if you use your calculator. So if you want to make a profit, you have to go 6 or more because you don't want to have 0.25 wall hanging. So to make a profit, it has to be 6 or more. Okay, your club is in charge of making pins that students can buy to show their school spirit for the upcoming football game. You have 225 pins so far, and you only have 2 hours left to make the rest. You need to make at least 400. So whatever this is, it's got to be more than 400. So this has to be more than 400. So greater than. So write an inequality that gives a possible number of pins you have to make per minute. So why do I have 120 p? Because it says they have 2 hours left, and there are 2 hours, 60 minutes per hour. So 60 times 2, this gives us 120 minutes because it's asking per minute. So that is where we get the 120 from. This is an equality to solve.